Hello friends, Christian Carter with Radius Financial Group, and today we are talking about renovation loans, specifically the FHA 203K, and I'm going to answer three frequently asked questions that we get all the time when it comes to renovation loans and specifically FHA 203K loans in general. So let's get right into it. So quick caveat, we're essentially going to be talking about two of FHA's products, right? And comparing them. So one is going to be the FHA 203B. That's the standard FHA product or mortgage that most people think about. 3.5% down payment, allows for lower credit scores, higher debt to income ratios, things like that, right? And then we're going to be comparing with the FHA 203K, right? So the FHA 203K is essentially where you can buy a fixer-upper property and you can finance the costs of renovating that property, right? So we're going to be comparing FHA 203B, which is the standard mortgage, and then FHA 203K, which allows you to buy a fixer-upper property. All right, so frequently asked question number one. Does the FHA 203K come with a higher interest rate than the normal FHA 203B product? Now, that's absolutely yes to this question, right? So typically when you're doing a renovation loan, like an FHA 203K, the interest rate is going to be anywhere from 0.75 of a point to 1% higher than the normal FHA rate, right? So let's say normal FHA rates are at like 6.5%, just for example. If you decide to go with a renovation loan like the FHA 203K, your interest rate is probably going to be about 6.5%, right? So about 0.75 of a point to a point higher than the normal FHA interest rate. Now, why is this? This is because the FHA 203K is more of a complex mortgage product, and there's just a lot more that goes into it. So think about it like this, right? Risk equals rate, right? And an FHA 203K, like a fixer-upper loan, is going to be a much bigger risk for us, the mortgage lender, to take on. So in order to compensate for that, the interest rate needs to be a little bit higher. All right, next up here on the list, does the FHA 203K require 2 appraisals? This one's kind of tricky. It's a yes and no, kind of. So essentially, what's going to happen is the appraiser is going to go out to the property and he's going to do 2 separate types of appraisals, right? He's going to do an as-is appraisal, and then he or she is going to do an after improved value, right, or appraisal. So essentially the as-is appraisal is going to be whatever that property is worth right now in its current, probably distressed state, right? And then the appraiser is going to do an after improved value. So he's going to say, okay, if the property is worth $100,000 right now, if the potential home buyer, puts a new roof and a new septic system and a new kitchen and adds a bedroom, right? Then the property will probably be worth $175 after that, right? So that's the after improved value. Now, it's important to note that essentially this is why this is like a yes and no answer, right? It's not necessarily going to be 2 separate appraisals. They're going to be in the same appraisal report. It's just going to have a value for as is and then after improved. And then it's also important to note that the borrower, the potential homeowner, is not going to get charged for 2 appraisals, right? They're only going to get charged for 1 appraisal. And typically, the appraiser that does the as-is value is also going to do the after improved value. So that's why this question can be a little tricky. Is 2 appraisals required? Not really, but 2 values are required. But everything is wrapped into that same appraisal report and done by that same appraiser. All right, frequently asked question number 3. What is the minimum credit score for an FHA 203K loan? Now again, this one's kind of tricky to answer, and this answer is going to vary by the different mortgage lenders, right? So different mortgage lenders will have a different minimum credit score in order to qualify for the FHA 203K. Just talking generally here, technically you can get an FHA loan with a credit score of all the way down to 500. They are going to require a bigger down payment, so larger than 3.5%. Once you reach the credit score of 580 or above, that opens you up to kind of the lower down payment, which is 3.5%. But as a general rule of thumb, if you're going to be taking on a renovation loan or a fixer-upper property, it's really a good idea to have your credit score be 640 or above, right? This is going to help you qualify for the loan, and most importantly, it's going to help you through the mortgage underwriting process, right? So we can talk about minimum credit scores. Again, it's going to vary lender by lender, but essentially you want to have your credit score at 640 or above. All right, that is all she wrote. The 3 frequently asked questions that we get all the time when it comes to FHA 203K loans and kind of renovation loans in general. If you did like this video, I would love it if you can give it a big thumbs up. Of course, if you like most of my videos, it really helps me if you can subscribe to my channel. And then most importantly, if you want me to cover other topics, mortgage or real estate related, please leave it in the comments below and I will be sure to make a video. Other than that, adios.